Every single day when you wake up, before the world comes rushing in with noise, distraction, and stress, you've got a choice. You can either be driven by fear or you can be led by power. The words you feed yourself, the thoughts you repeat, the beliefs you hold, these are shaping your life more than anything else. So I want you to imagine for a moment that your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it, whether weeds or seeds, that's exactly what's going to grow. And most people, they're planting weeds. They wake up thinking about their problems, about what's missing, about what could go wrong. And then they wonder why their life feels heavy. But if you want to create momentum, if you want to create energy, if you want to create a life that lights you up, you've got to feed your mind with power. That's why I want to give you 5 things to tell yourself every single day. These are not just affirmations. They are reminders, anchors, and triggers for the person you're becoming. Number 1, I am in control of my state. Most people let the world dictate how they feel. If traffic is bad, they're angry. If someone doesn't text them back, they're hurt. But you're not here to be a prisoner of circumstance. You're here to master your state. When you tell yourself, I am in control of my state, you're reminding yourself that you can choose energy, gratitude, and confidence, no matter what's happening around you. Shift your body, shift your focus, shift your language, and you shift everything. I am in control of my state. Those words hold incredible power because the truth is most people live as if life is happening to them, as if they are just passengers on a bus they never bought a ticket for. They wake up and immediately hand over their emotional steering wheel to circumstances, to other people, to events they cannot control. If traffic is heavy, they become frustrated. If someone speaks to them rudely, they feel insulted. If their phone pings with bad news, their mood is ruined for the entire day. But what they don't realize is that the moment you give away control of your state, you give away your life, your state, your emotional and physical condition in this very moment. Determines how you think, how you act, how you perform, and ultimately what results you get. You cannot make powerful decisions in a weak state, and you cannot experience joy while operating from a state of frustration or anger. When you say to yourself every day, I am in control of my state, you are declaring that no outside factor has the right to dominate your inner world. You are recognizing that even though you cannot always control events, you can always control the meaning you attach to them. Think about it. The same situation can happen to 2 different people, and they will respond in completely different ways. And one might see rejection as devastating and spiral into self-doubt, while another sees rejection as redirection and uses it to fuel growth. The difference is not the event. The difference is the state they are in when they interpret the event. State is shaped by 3 primary forces: your physiology, your focus, and your language. Physiology comes first. Your body is the fastest way to shift your emotional state. If you are slouched over, breathing shallowly, moving slowly, you are signaling to your brain that it's time to feel tired, depressed, or powerless. But if you stand tall, breathe deeply, move with energy, your brain gets the message that you are strong, confident, and alive. This is why athletes pump their fists, shout, or jump before they perform. They are conditioning their physiology to create certainty and power. If you want to take back control of your state, learn to change the way you use your body. Move with intensity, hold yourself with certainty, and you'll feel different instantly. The second force is focus. Whatever you consistently focus on, you will feel. If you focus on what's missing, you'll feel lack. If you focus on what you can't control, you'll feel helpless. If you focus on what could go wrong, you'll feel fear. But if you shift your focus toward what you have, what's possible, and what you can control, suddenly the energy changes. The mind cannot process everything at once, so it filters based on what you decide to direct your attention toward. Every day when you repeat, I am in control of my state, you are reminding yourself that you decide where your focus goes. That is ultimate power, because where focus goes, energy flows. The third force is language. The words you use, both spoken and in your internal dialogue, shape the way you experience life. If you constantly say, I'm exhausted, I'm stressed, I can't handle this, your body responds with heaviness and fatigue. But if you shift your language to, I'm energized, I'm unstoppable, I've got this, you generate a completely different emotional state. People underestimate how much the habitual language they use sculpts their identity and emotions. Saying, this is a disaster, creates one state. Saying, this is a challenge, creates another. Saying, this is an opportunity, creates yet another. By choosing words of empowerment, you gain the ability to direct your emotions in the direction of strength instead of weakness. Control of your state is not about pretending that pain or challenges don't exist. It's about refusing to let them dictate your choices and your energy. You may not be able to prevent life from handing you setbacks, but you always decide how you show up in response to them. You can be the person who falls into despair or the person who rises with determination. You can be the person who plays the victim or the person who becomes the leader. The difference is your state, and the beauty is that it's always within your control. Imagine walking into a room after a stressful day. If your state is weak, you bring that stress with you, and the energy infects everyone around you. Your family feels it, your colleagues feel it, even strangers feel it. But if you pause, reset your physiology, shift your focus, choose empowering language, and step into a powerful state, suddenly you radiate something different. You lift others instead of pulling them down. You create solutions instead of complaining. You become the thermostat instead of the thermometer, the one who sets the temperature instead of reacting to it. Every single breakthrough in life requires you to be in a resourceful state. Whether you're building a business, strengthening a relationship, or overcoming a personal obstacle, the strategy is worthless if your state is poor. Think of a time you made a bad decision. Chances are you were in a lousy state. Now think of a time you accomplished something extraordinary. You were almost certainly in a peak state. That's not coincidence. That's cause and effect. Success flows from state, and state is something you can control in an instant if you commit to it. Repeating the words, I am in control of my state, every morning is like setting the foundation for the day. It's like programming your brain with the reminder that no matter what the world throws at you, you have the tools to shift into strength, confidence, and clarity. It is not about denying challenges. It's about deciding you won't be defined by them. It's about conditioning yourself to live as the creator of your life, not the reactor to your circumstances. And when you condition this belief daily, it becomes automatic. It becomes part of who you are, and it unleashes a level of consistency and power most people never experience. Number 2, my past does not define my future. So many people live in the prison of yesterday. They replay mistakes, failures, heartbreaks, as if carrying that pain will somehow protect them. But the truth, your past is only a lesson, not a life sentence. Every morning tell yourself this, my past does not define my future. You are not your history. You are your decisions today. You've got power in this moment that's greater than any setback you've ever had. My past does not define my future. Those words carry a force that can liberate you from chains that have held you back for years. Most people live their lives as if yesterday is still happening today. They replay mistakes over and over in their minds. They relive painful moments. They carry guilt, shame, regret, and disappointment like a backpack full of rocks. And every day they wake up, they put that heavy backpack on again. Then they wonder why life feels exhausting, why progress feels slow, why happiness seems so far away. The truth is your past is not who you are. It is something that happened to you or through you, but it is not your identity. Your identity is created in the present moment through the choices you make right now and the meaning you assign to everything you have experienced. When you tell yourself, my past does not define my future, you are declaring that what happened yesterday is not a life sentence. It does not matter how many times you failed, how many times you were rejected, how many times you felt broken. Those events are chapters, not the whole book. They may have shaped you, but they do not imprison you unless you let them. The only thing that defines your future is the decision you make today. Your past is only useful if you use it as a reference, not as a residence. Too many people live in their past like it is their permanent address. They pitch a tent in their pain and call it home, when in reality it was only meant to be a place of learning. Think about it this way. Every single person you admire, every leader, every achiever, every hero has a past filled with struggles. They have failures, they have rejections, they have scars. The difference is they didn't allow those scars to become their identity. They chose to use them as fuel, as lessons, as stepping stones. If you let your past define you, you shrink your possibilities down to the size of old experiences. But if you choose to define your future by vision instead of history, you expand into who you are meant to become. The past does not define you because you are not the same person you were yesterday. Every single moment, your cells are regenerating, your mind is evolving, your perspective is shifting. If you keep identifying with an old version of yourself, you are living in a ghost that doesn't even exist anymore. People often say, that's just the way I am. No, that's just the way you've been. Who you are is fluid, dynamic, ever-changing, and the moment you recognize that, you realize you can reinvent yourself at any time. When you hold on to your past, you unconsciously keep reliving the same patterns. If you were betrayed, you stop trusting. If you failed, you stop trying. If you were criticized, you stop expressing yourself. And suddenly your past is writing your future for you, not because it has power, but because you keep handing it the pen. Reclaiming your future means taking the pen back. It means saying, yes, this happened, but I decide what it means and how it shapes me. You can make your past your prison, or you can make it your power. You can let it weaken you, or you can let it wake you up. Most people carry regret like it is proof they are unworthy of success or happiness. They replay the moment they should have acted differently, the opportunity they missed, the words they shouldn't have said. But regret is wasted energy unless it is transformed into resolve. The truth is you cannot change what happened, but you can always change what happens next. The most powerful shift you can make is to see your past not as something to run from, but as something that built the resilience, the compassion, the wisdom you now carry. Without it, you would not have the strength to step into the future you are capable of creating. When you declare daily that your past does not define your future, you break the invisible chain that ties you to old stories. You stop living in the narrative of, I can't because I failed before. You stop believing the lie of, I'm not good enough because of what happened to me. You stop carrying the identity of the person you used to be. And you start to realize that failure is not final, pain is not permanent, and your mistakes are not markers of destiny. They are feedback. They are lessons. They are experiences meant to guide you, not confine you. Every person has two choices: to be defined by memory or to be driven by vision. Memory is limited to the past, to what has already happened, to what is behind you. Vision is unlimited. It's about what's possible, what hasn't yet been created, what is still ahead. If you live by memory, your best days are behind you. If you live by vision, your best days are always ahead of you. And the human spirit is built to thrive when it is pulled by vision. That is why when you focus on creating a compelling future, your past begins to lose its grip, and because your energy shifts toward possibility instead of pain, you are not defined by the mistakes you made. You are defined by the lessons you learned. You are not defined by the relationships that ended. You are defined by the love you are still capable of giving. You are not defined by the opportunities you missed. You are defined by the opportunities you create from this point forward. The moment you accept that, you take back your power. You step out of the prison of the past and into the freedom of the present. You stop letting old experiences act as anchors and start using them as launch pads, because your past can only weigh you down if you choose to carry it. And the second you let it go, you are free to move into a future that has no limits. Number 3, I already have everything I need to succeed. We live in a world that constantly tells you you're not enough, that you need more money, more status, more validation before you can go after your dreams. But the reality is, You already have the resource that matters most, your own resourcefulness. Strength, creativity, persistence, hunger. Those aren't things you buy. Those are things you build. And they're already inside you. I already have everything I need to succeed. Those words create an immediate shift because the world has conditioned us to believe that we are always missing something. From the time we are young, we are told that we need to get more education, more approval, more money, more resources before we can finally be ready to chase our dreams. We are taught to wait until the perfect conditions line up, until someone gives us permission, until life finally hands us the missing piece. But the truth is you already have the most important resource inside you, your resourcefulness. You have creativity, you have resilience, you have determination, you have the ability to learn, to adapt, to persist, to find a way. Success is not reserved for the person with the best tools, the biggest bank account, or the longest list of connections. Success belongs to the person who makes the absolute most of what they have, who refuses to let limitations become excuses, who knows that power is never outside, it's always inside. When you tell yourself, I already have everything I need to succeed, you are rejecting the idea that you have to wait for the right moment. You are reminding yourself that success is not about what you start with, but how you use it. There are countless stories of people who began with nothing, no money, no support, no advantage, yet created extraordinary lives. What they had was hunger. What they had was vision. What they had was the willingness to act, to fail, to learn, and to keep going. Hunger and persistence have built empires. Resourcefulness has solved problems that billions of dollars couldn't fix. And every one of those qualities is already available to you right now. Most people hesitate because they think they need certainty before they start. They think they need to know every step of the path before they take the first one. But success doesn't come from having every answer. It comes from moving forward even when you don't. It comes from taking the resources you have and stretching them further than you thought possible. It comes from realizing that the most valuable tools in the world mean nothing if the person holding them doesn't have the drive to use them. A phone is just a phone until someone uses it to build a business. A laptop is just a laptop until someone uses it to write a book, create a program, or change an industry. The resource itself is neutral. What gives it power is the resourcefulness of the human being who wields it. This belief transforms your perspective on challenges. Instead of saying, I can't because I don't have enough, you begin to ask, how can I make it work with what I do have? That single shift opens doors that would otherwise stay shut. The most successful innovators weren't the ones with unlimited resources. They were the ones who looked at constraints and found creative ways around them. They didn't sit and wait for conditions to be ideal. They acted with what was available and adjusted as they went. That is the spirit of resourcefulness. It is the recognition that there's always a way, and if you can't see it yet, you can create it. When you internalize the idea that you already have everything you need, fear begins to lose its grip. Fear thrives on the illusion that something is missing, that you are not ready, that you don't have what it takes. But when you affirm that you already possess the essentials, fear can no longer control you. You no longer wait for permission. You no longer wait for circumstances. You begin to move, and motion creates clarity. Motion creates opportunity. Motion creates momentum. The truth is, the greatest resource you will ever have is your own psychology. The way you think, the way you frame challenges, the way you speak to yourself. This determines everything. You could have all the money in the world, but if your mindset is one of scarcity, you will live in fear. You could have all the talent in the world, but if your mindset is filled with doubt, you will never fully use it. On the other hand, someone with limited resources, but an unstoppable mindset will find ways to create results that shock everyone around them. That is why the most important resource is resourcefulness itself. If you look back at your own life, you will see moments where you thought you didn't have what it took, yet you found a way. You figured it out, you adapted, you grew. Maybe you solved a problem with little time or money. Maybe you handled a crisis you never thought you could. Maybe you picked yourself up after a failure and kept moving forward. Those are examples of the power already within you. The same strength that got you through before is still inside you now. The same creativity that helped you solve past challenges is still available to you now. Nothing outside has to change for you to move toward your vision. What has to change is the belief that you are missing something. Telling yourself daily, I already have everything I need to succeed, rewires your identity. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who lacks, you begin to see yourself as someone who creates. Instead of waiting for opportunities, you begin to generate them. Instead of being defined by limitation, and you are defined by possibility. And when you embody that belief, you stop playing small, you stop making excuses, you stop comparing yourself to others. You realize that no matter where you start, you can build. No matter how many obstacles stand in your way, you can overcome. No matter how far the destination seems, you have the tools to take the next step and the next until the vision in your mind becomes the reality in your life. Number 4, I am worthy of love, success, and happiness. Now hear me on this. Most people sabotage themselves not because they don't know what to do, but because deep down, they don't believe they deserve it. You've got to break that pattern. Every single day, remind yourself, I am worthy. Worthy of love, worthy of success, worthy of living a life that excites you. When you believe you're worthy, you stop tolerating less than you deserve. I am worthy of love, success, and happiness. For so many people, these words feel unnatural the first time they say them, because deep down they carry an invisible belief that they are not enough. Somewhere along the way, they were told they weren't smart enough, talented enough, attractive enough, or deserving enough. Maybe it came from childhood experiences, maybe from failure, maybe from rejection, maybe from the criticism of others. Over time, those voices start to sink in, and without realizing it, they begin to live in a prison of unworthiness. They stop going after opportunities because they don't think they deserve them. They push away relationships because they don't believe they are lovable. They sabotage their progress because at the deepest level, they feel like happiness is for other people but not for them. And yet the truth is every single person is inherently worthy. Not because of what they have accomplished, not because of what others think of them, but simply because they are alive, because they have within them the capacity to give, to grow, to contribute. When you wake up each day and affirm, I am worthy of love, success, and happiness, you are rewriting the script that may have been running for years. You are reminding yourself that your value is not determined by external conditions. It is not determined by how much money you have, by the approval of others, or by how perfect your past has been. Your worth is intrinsic. You are worthy simply because you exist, but worthiness is not something you feel automatically if you have been conditioned to doubt it. It is something you must claim, something you must remind yourself of until it becomes your truth. Think about the way people behave when they feel unworthy. They settle for jobs that don't fulfill them, relationships that drain them, lifestyles that limit them. They accept less than they deserve because they don't believe they could possibly ask for more. They tolerate disrespect, they silence their voice, they hide their gifts. And the world misses out on their brilliance because they don't believe it matters. But when a person shifts and begins to own their worth, everything changes. They start to speak up. They start to pursue what excites them. They start to hold themselves to higher standards. They stop saying yes to what destroys them and start saying yes to what aligns with their true potential. Worthiness is the foundation of receiving. You cannot receive love fully if you do not believe you deserve it. You cannot step into success if you secretly think you are unqualified. You cannot embrace happiness if you are convinced it is temporary or not meant for you. The belief, I am worthy, is the permission slip you give yourself to allow abundance, connection, and joy into your life. Without that belief, and even if good things show up, you will push them away or find a way to lose them. Because deep down, you don't think you should have them. When you say, I am worthy of love, you are reminding yourself that love is not something you must earn by being perfect. Love is your birthright. It begins with the love you give yourself, the compassion, the acceptance, the forgiveness. If you cannot love yourself, you will struggle to believe anyone else truly can. Loving yourself is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the recognition that you are human, imperfect, and yet still deserving of care, respect, and kindness. When you say, I am worthy of success, you are rejecting the belief that achievement belongs only to those born with privilege or advantage. Success is for those who are willing to grow, to act, to persist, and to learn. Your worthiness is not measured by your RA Sume or your past mistakes. You are worthy of creating impact, of achieving goals, of living your dreams, simply because you are willing to step into the arena and play full out. The belief that you are worthy of success fuels your persistence when things get hard. Without it, you quit. With it, you keep moving because you know the rewards of effort and discipline are meant for you too. When you say, I am worthy of happiness, you are rejecting the toxic idea that happiness must be earned, that you must first achieve or prove or sacrifice endlessly before you can feel joy. Happiness is not the reward at the end of a perfect life. It is a state you can step into now. Believing you are worthy of happiness means giving yourself permission to feel gratitude, to celebrate, to enjoy, even in the middle of the journey. It means not postponing joy until everything looks the way you think it should. Worthiness is about identity. If you believe you are unworthy, no strategy in the world will stick. You can work harder, earn more, even gain recognition, but if at your core you don't feel deserving, you will always sabotage it. That is why the internal shift matters more than the external result. Once you own your worth, the results begin to align because you are no longer operating from fear or doubt. You are no longer chasing to prove yourself. You are creating because you know you are already enough. Repeating, I am worthy of love, success, and happiness is a reprogramming tool. The first time you say it, it may feel uncomfortable. The 10th time you say it, it begins to sink in. The 100th time you say it, it becomes part of your belief system. And when it becomes part of your belief system, it begins to shape every choice you make, every opportunity you pursue, every standard you set for yourself. You stop asking for permission to live a full life and start stepping into it boldly. You stop apologizing for your desires and start chasing them unapologetically. You stop living as if you must constantly prove your value and start living as if your value is already absolute. Number 5, today, I will live with purpose and passion. Life isn't about existing. It's about living fully, about squeezing the juice out of every single day. Purpose and passion aren't things you stumble upon. They're choices. When you wake up and declare, today I will live with purpose and passion, you stop waiting for life to happen to you. You become the creator. You move with intention. You bring energy to others. You play full out. Today, I will live with purpose and passion. Those words create a standard for how you show up in life. Most people drift through their days on autopilot, repeating the same routines, chasing tasks without meaning, reacting to problems instead of creating possibilities. They live like life is something happening to them rather than something they are consciously shaping. Without purpose, every day blurs into the next. Without passion, even achievements feel empty. Purpose gives you direction, and passion gives you fuel. Together, they transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. When you tell yourself every morning, today I will live with purpose and passion, you are making a decision not to waste the day. You are declaring that this day matters, that your time is valuable, and that you will use it to contribute, to grow, to experience life fully. Purpose is not something far off in the distance. It is something you create by asking, what can I give today? What can I build today? How can I use my energy to make a difference? Passion is not reserved for special moments or rare opportunities. It is the fire you bring into whatever you do. Even the smallest tasks can become meaningful when infused with passion. Purpose is what pulls you forward when challenges come. If your only motivation is comfort or convenience, you will quit as soon as things get hard. But when you are connected to a deeper purpose, Obstacles become tests instead of roadblocks. You push through the discomfort because you know why you're doing it. Purpose gives meaning to effort. It takes the grind of discipline and turns it into a mission. That's why people who live with purpose endure more, create more, and inspire more. They are not just moving, they are moving towards something that matters. Passion is the energy that lights up your actions. Think of a time when you did something you loved. Time disappeared, energy surged, creativity flowed. That is passion at work. Now imagine if you brought even a fraction of that energy to everything you did each day. Conversations would become more alive. Work would become more engaging. Relationships would deepen. Passion is contagious. It lifts not only you, but everyone around you. A person who lives with passion ignites others, while a person who drifts without it drains the room. Living with purpose and passion requires intention. It doesn't just happen. You must decide every morning that this day will not be wasted. You must ask yourself, how can I show up today? What values will I embody today? How can I make today count? Too many people are waiting for life to hand them purpose, waiting for passion to strike like lightning. But purpose is created, not found. Passion is cultivated, not stumbled upon. You don't wait for meaning. You generate it through how you choose to live. Every day is an opportunity to live in alignment with what matters most to you. It doesn't require grand gestures or life-altering projects. It can be as simple as showing kindness, as meaningful as being fully present with someone you care about, as empowering as taking one step toward a vision that excites you. Purpose and passion are not about perfection. They are about intention. They are about waking up and deciding that you will not simply exist, you will live fully. When you live without purpose, life feels heavy, work becomes routine, relationships become dull, and progress feels empty. When you live without passion, even success tastes bland. You might hit goals, earn money, or achieve recognition, but something will still feel missing. That missing piece is the fire that makes the journey worthwhile. By reminding yourself daily to live with purpose and passion, you keep that fire alive. You stop living by default and start living by design. It is easy to get caught in distraction, to waste hours scrolling, to get lost in problems that don't matter in the long run. Purpose and passion cut through the noise. They remind you that your time here is limited, that every day is a gift, and that it is up to you how you use it. You can choose to drift, or you can choose to direct. You can choose to go through the motions, or you can choose to go all in. That choice determines whether your days add up to a life of regret or a life of fulfillment. Living with purpose and passion also means refusing to play small. It means raising your standards, and it means not settling for mediocrity when you know you are capable of excellence. It means saying yes to opportunities that scare you because you know growth lies on the other side of fear. It means bringing your full energy to the people you love instead of half-hearted attention. It means creating, giving, serving, building, learning, expanding, not just for yourself, but for the impact you can have on others. When you repeat, today, I will live with purpose and passion, you are anchoring yourself to a higher way of being. You are setting the tone for your actions, your energy, your mindset. You are reminding yourself that this day matters, that it will never come again, and that you have the power to make it meaningful. You are choosing to align with vision instead of distraction, with growth instead of stagnation, with fire instead of apathy. Each day lived with purpose and passion builds into a life that inspires, a life that leaves a mark, a life that reflects the best of who you are. Now listen, and if you start every day telling yourself these 5 things, if you really own them, not just with words, but with feeling, your life will transform. Because success is not about what happens to you. It's about what happens through you. So tomorrow morning, don't just wake up. Rise up. Plant the right seeds. And watch how your entire world begins to change. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.